Good evening. We are live and we are so excited to be here because tonight, depending on what time zone you're on, we're talking about all things weddings. So listen, if you're thinking about getting married, if you're planning to get married, if you want your husband or your boo, should I say, to come and join you, this is the show to ask the questions to the experts. It's free. You better take advantage of it if you can. So again, we're talking about all things weddings. I'm your host, Taylor Thomas. Thank you for coming and joining us here on Black Press USA and NNPA FIA program. Our first guest, we have two, as you saw just a few minutes ago. Our first guest is Nicole Finger, and she is the CEO of Fingers and Ink. She's a stationery stylist, but also she is the president of the Association of Wedding Professionals of Washington, D.C. Please help me in welcoming Nicole Finger. Hi.
Me, Taylor. How are you today?
I am wonderful. I am wonderful. We have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Okay, so this has been a couple of months in the making. I think I sent you an invitation like 4 months ago, and you're like, yes. So I've been looking forward to this. It's the holiday season's upon us, and this is usually a time where people start discussing or planning if they haven't already had their ceremony, right? Looking at the end of the year or into 2022. I'm talking about weddings, so I thought it was a perfect time to bring you on and to be able to talk about what it is that you do. But before we get into your business as a stationery stylist, Nicole, you are an engineer by trade. How do you transition from being an engineer to an incredibly recognizable stationery stylist here in the Washington, D.C. area?
I have to first say stepping out on faith is truly the key, but I've always had a passion for paper and it just resonates with me. And I think because of that, it allowed me to pivot myself and use the creative side of my designer instinct to actually put it and make it into a business. So 19 years and counting of being in business, a storefront, a small stationery boutique located in Arlington, Virginia. I mean, the rest is history.
So before you just make it sound like you just went from here to there,
Oh,
for 2020, 2020, 2021, people have really started deciding, I don't know if I want to do what I went to college for, or I don't know if I want to work in the environment where I have been working. So can you tell me what that transition was? Did you plan it? I mean, in regards to, I'm going to start next month, I'm going to start next year. Were you doing both? Can you give us a little insight of what you did?
now that was a plan. It was a definite planned situation. It wasn't something that I did do both at the same time. And then I had to really, that's where I say step out on faith and where the rubber met the road and where I had to really see if this actually was going to manifest itself to what it is today. So I think when I did do that, when I started to truly invest in my business, that's when it really took off.
So when you say that, and I want to help because people always ask me, well, Taylor, what do they exactly mean? So when you say invest in your business, you were getting so many orders, or was it requiring so much of your time to complete projects that you said, listen, I can't do both?
I can't do both. It really takes a lot of time. If you really do your business the way you should, and everybody can, that's a personal choice for everyone. How they, some people have a side hustle and the side hustle works for them. But right. I really wanted this to be a full-time situation where I was going to be able to make a living off of it. So I had to strategically plan, and save money so that just in case I didn't make money from here, okay, I still was going to be able to eat and live and not have to eat ramen noodles and still be able to shop and those kind of things.
I think it's important to note, Nicole, you were married. So
yeah.
What was that conversation like when you said, honey, I've decided my engineering degree, I'm not going to do it for what you know. I'm going to do it to be a stationery stylist. How did that conversation go?
That's a buy-in. Honestly, truly, that's a buy-in from your spouse and your partner to know that this is what you want. And they have to sign on and be in agreement with it because it's not going to work. Because it's not always going to be rosy. So you truly have to have a great partner that's going to sign on and be a part and be your cheerleader, and family too. You know, my parents, my siblings, they are true supporters of this business. Even, you know, my nieces, has grown up in the shop, literally. And so, you know, you really have to have a true buy-in.
How did you get people to know about you? Because there are so many people and companies out there that do what you do. I don't know if they're still doing it now after the pandemic, but how do you get people to know who you are? And you do have a really adorable boutique shop. It is really adorable.
Thank you. And that's years, you know, I'm just being steadfast. I think it's just the years of providing great customer service and service to people. And you know, the benefit of what I do is I'm actually in the mailboxes of however many guests that you actually invite. And if it's so amazing when they open the envelope, they're going to ask, where did you get these amazing invitations from? And that is the biggest referral ever.
Yeah, that's really important. So when do you have any times where you were like, I'm just not sure if this is going to work?
Yes. In the beginning, absolutely. And, you know, going through the recession in 2008 and, you know, just this pandemic, you know, it always looks as if like, okay, what was I thinking? But it always works out. You know, it always works out.
I love hearing that. So my producer is going to pull up some of the images that you sent us. When we bring the images up, I want you to tell us what we're looking at and kind of describing it for us. And then we're going to talk a little bit about pricing and what you offer. So what is this here?
These are custom foil invitations with 2 layers, gold foil, actually. They were for a wedding that took place at the MGM a year ago, just before the pandemic hit.
Now, it looks like stamp. Is that stamps?
Those are postage stamps. It's really staged to look really pretty. So it's called a flat lay, where you take pictures of all the stationery from the actual event. So those are like vintage stamps.
Okay, and so what does something like this cost? And listen, I'm just getting people need to have an idea. What does something like this cost? And do you do them for as low as 50 people? Are there minimums when it comes to ordering stationery?
Well, for foil, there is a minimum. I wouldn't do anything lower than 50 pieces,
Okay.
because it is just wouldn't be worth your while, because with foil, you have to create a plate for it. So I wouldn't suggest going under that. Now, if you want to, that's up to you. But
Sure.
For me as a professional, and knowing someone's budget, because these actually start at probably about $9 per invitation suite. And when I say suite, I'm always speaking of the invitation, the response card, an outer envelope.
Do you help people with wording? I know that sounds like a weird question.
No, I have to sometimes, because people have such complicated family dynamics.
Yes.
It's sometimes, and this is their first time doing this sometimes, and they need help.
Now, what is this?
This is a program, a custom program that was created. Very simple, clean.
I love that font.
Yeah, this was a minimal couple. They really wanted very clean lines, simple stationery for their occasion.
You know, that's good. Nicole, so when you go to a decorator will ask you, are you contemporary? Are you traditional? What would you say the categories are for a bride when it comes to invitations?
I always call them modern, traditional, whimsical. Those are my kind of categories of for a client, because sometimes they want that minimal look, but it could be minimal modern. Sometimes it could be minimal whimsical, minimal traditional. So always different combinations of one person. You can't there's no cookie cutter person when it comes.
You help them. Okay.
Yes.
So this looks like a reception table card.
Yes, and these are actually place cards where their guests had the meal options, and you could see the beef and
the fish. Okay.
as indicators.
I love that.
On each place setting.
I'm sure that helps the service a lot better than opening it up or flipping the card over, right? I like that.
Right there. This is a bridal engagement kind of / invitation.
This looks incredible. There's layers.
Yeah, she's an artist, so it was just really being whimsical and playful with the invitation, with the layers and the depth, the texture.
And I think it's important to note if you're just tuning into the program, again, we're talking to Nicole Finger, and she is the CEO and founder of Fingers and Ink. She's a stationery stylist, and she's also the president of the Association of Wedding Professionals of Washington, D.C. The invitations we're looking at and the things we're looking at now are actually handmade. This is unbelievable. What? Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous.
This is another custom invitation with a brooch finish. So, and this actually was mailed in a box that came in a satin box. So again, you can go as high as you want, or again, as minimal as you want.
What does something like this run? That just tells me this reception and wedding, I'm expecting big things when I see something like this.
Oh yes, yes, yes. You, if you're gonna kick it off in this kind of way, please know that there's not going to be a lot of declines.
Right. This is amazing. So what does something like this run?
Probably starting at about $35 per invitation suite.
That is gorgeous. I'm telling you, I'm sure she had no, I'm not available to attend. And that is, I love that. I love that. What's the next image?
And this engagement, fun. Again, just trying to kick off the celebration with something fun and really getting people excited about the celebration.
I like that. Nicole, did you put these images together? Because I think you might have a little bit of fashion design behind you as well.
But those actually, fashion and stationery, they really tie together. When you think about color and texture and patterns, that's fashion. And that's stationery too. This is an escort chart to tell people where they should sit, or where they need to sit, where they would like the couple would like them to sit, what table.
Now that's one of the nicest arrangements I've seen. I know many people are used to the big whiteboard. How elegant is that? Mm-hmm. That is really gorgeous.
All in the framing. That's really
it's just gorgeous. I love classic pieces like that.
And a really nice menu card. Menu cards are becoming very popular because of the dietary restrictions that people have, and people need to know what they're eating. So you can go as glamorous as you would like, or as simplistic as you like.
Nicole, when people come to, oh my goodness. Oh, I love this.
That's a custom invitation too. Yes.
Wow. The RSVP, that looks really expensive. What does something like that start at?
Again, probably like around the $30 range.
That is beautiful. And it's not so formal, but it's really gorgeous.
And that's true. The font definitely can take you up, or, bring you to it where you can dictate if this is going to be casual or super formal. There's, I think, one more.
The next image that comes up. When people come to you, what's the first question they ask you as a stationery stylist?
They always ask me how much it's going to cost.
Of course.
They say that's the first thing. How much is this going to cost? Well, I have to ask a few questions to be able to provide an accurate answer to that, because I need to know how many people you're sending invitations to. I need to find out, what really is your taste. What do you like? What have you seen? And then to just find out, like, how many pieces do they need to go? Are they having a weekend? Are they hosting a pre-wedding event that everyone's invited to? Are they doing a post-wedding event that everyone's invited to? So, these are really important. This is important information to help me provide a really accurate price quote for them.
And Ashley and Nicole are sending you love and shouts out. So we want to thank those both. There goes Ashley and there goes Nicole, giving you some love, Nicole. Nicole, what would you say, or suggestions that you would give to people to be prepared with before speaking to a stationery stylist like you? What should they already have?
I think, first of all, the biggest homework that I could give as an assignment would be to create your guest list. Create your guest list so you know exactly how many people. People come to consultations and don't have that information. The colors, okay, that's great, but how many people?
Right, that is true. That's very, very true. And I'm sure you let them know that you don't order for the exact number, right?
This is, and exactly, you don't order for the exact number of people you're inviting, you order for the households that you're inviting.
What are the trends now with invitations? And I'm talking about for 2021, we're wrapping out the year, but that you're seeing for 2022 as well.
I think just those personal touches, bringing the couples together and infusing them within the stationery and having just a little, so when you open it, you know it came from them. It's branded, whether it's a monogram, whether it's color, you just see that it's from the couple and it's not something that they just picked out of a book.
Candace, such great tips. Thanks, Nicole. You're amazing. Thanks, Candace. Yeah,
Thank
she is amazing. I have seen her work and I'm very, very familiar with it. Going on what I guess 15, 16 years now.
Yes.
So how did the pandemic affect your industry?
It affected me because everything stopped. There were no events actually happening. So there was, I mean, the only thing that we could pivot to were change the date cards where people were changing their date. And when it was such uncertainty and things were so fluid, people went to a digital format. So I had to pivot and make some digital changes and make invitations that were digital. So that's how I mean, and I'm still impacted because there's some shortages of paper. So though I'm still being impacted by it, but not as much because people are truly celebrating now. They're saying, okay.
Nicole, how soon should you place the order for your invitations? I know that's another thing. I think people think that it just happens like that.
They do. 8 months, 6 to 8 months would be great. Because again, if you're getting a custom curated invitation, time needs to take place to develop that. And I hate to say it, you're not my only client, but I make you feel like that, but you're not. So it takes time to create that curated experience that you want to mail and have your guests receive.
The other thing I think people need to know about Fingers and Ink, which I love the play on your last name, Nicole Finger, Fingers and Ink. I just love that. You don't just do the stationery, but the party favors, you do things for birthdays. I mean, you run the gamut, anything that you can print. In fact, you do aprons. I mean, you literally, if you come up with it, you can make it happen. That's what I feel like.
That's true. And it really is. It's all social. You know, when I think of that, it's all social for all celebratory occasions is what I like to say, because I am able to touch on the first birthdays and the sweet 16s and the housewarmings and those new babies and, you know, just all things to celebrate. It's not just weddings.
Now, one of the things that made me say, I've got to have you on the show is, Nicole, they can be anywhere in the world and you send them samples through the email. Unheard of. I mean, I think that's just amazing. I don't have to come to your store, right?
You don't. And actually that has made the experience even better. I have to say there's some pros that's happened through this pandemic is I've been able to reach and have a greater reach and work with people, you know, virtually and have consultations and work with people that way. So yeah, you don't have to be in the DMV. I've worked with people as far as Kenya. I've worked with people, you know, so the experience just doesn't have to be in the DMV, in the tri-state area.
Let's talk about this new title that you have. You're president of the Association of Wedding Professionals in the Washington, D.C. Can you tell us about that organization and what you do as their leader?
As the president, wow, I wear many hats. I have to say that, but it's just the organization is amazing. It encompasses a gamut of all categories of wedding professionals. And not only are we networking, but we are also being educated to be better in our business. So I think that's what I'm most proud of, and that we are able to achieve such great things in this industry. Everyone from caterers to bridal salons to calligraphers, just all the gamut. It's just not only planners, it's everyone. That's what I'm most proud of.
And they're a membership-based fee.
It is a membership-based organization, yes. And we
have
have
any qualifications?
No,
other than obviously being in business.
Being in the industry, yes. Just to be in the wedding industry, to be an official business. And we actually have open a membership drive right now going on. And the website is www.awp-dc.com.
Okay, I'm gonna have you say that one more time slower for me.
www.awp-dc.com.
And so if you are new to the business or if you've been in the business for a while, this is an organization that basically, do you guys talk about how you can strengthen or change it in the industry? Is it additional information along those lines professionally, or it's just a place to kind of people can go to for resources?
It's everything that you spoke about. It's actually about
Okay.
networking. It's about collaborations. It's about just the education of strengthening your business in things that you may not have been able to be aware of or you wanted to learn more information about. So it's just a gamut of it's a wealth of knowledge to definitely grow, not only personally, but professionally.
So are the wedding shows coming back anytime soon? Are
There
there
are
talks of
few
it?
wedding shows. Yeah, they are.
Okay,
They are
great.
coming back slowly but surely.
Sure, sure. That's good to hear. Well, I am not here only with Nicole Finger of Fingers in Ink. She is a stationery stylist and the president of the Association of Wedding Professionals of Washington, D.C. But I have a wonderful wedding consultant, Sharia Barksdale, and she is going to join us right now. Come on, you can have both of them up here. She's CEO and Event Innovator. So, Sharia, thank you and welcome to the program here on NNPA and Black Press USA. You are a wedding consultant and you own Event Innovator. So tell us a little bit about your wedding consulting business.
Well, my company name is called Eclectic Fete, and we named it that because we really wanted to set ourselves apart as almost a non-traditional, almost quirky coordinators in the DC area. We always say that we're city girls because we just love planning in urban environments because we always feel that cities give a very distinct look and each city is separate in terms of their personality. So a lot of the clients that we have are very individual in nature. And by that, I mean they have very distinct personalities, very unique visions for their day. And they usually want to do something so completely out of the box that they've actually been turned away from other planners. So
Yeah,
they
I
usually
saw your
find
website.
solace
It was
in
really
us.
whimsical. Yeah, the description, you really set yourself. I think you did such a great description from the very
Thank
first
you.
paragraph that you see on there. And I'm sure you're not discrediting any other brides, but if you are the stern, uptight, or formal, this may not be, not that you couldn't do it, but if you are fun and you're creative and you want to do something different, it seems like you have a home with your company.
Absolutely. And we always say that we're an advocate for your individuality because,
Ah,
so many couples have to battle with, their parents or their grandparents and, oh, I want something timeless or, romantic. And a lot of people shy away from color. So we found not being shady, but a lot of people just don't know how to blend colors. So they shy away from it because they just don't understand the techniques and combining them. So a lot of our clients, either they're looking to us for that Washington, D.C. knowledge because me and my partner are both born and raised in the area, or they're looking for, like I said, an advocate just to be themselves and someone that will help, coax their parents into buying into their idea for their personal day. So it's been really rewarding.
so listen, you're in the nation's capital. There has to be so many wedding planners. You've already explained what makes you kind of stand out. But where are you finding that you're getting your business from? Because it's such a competitive market.
Um, for us, especially because, again, we're the resident weirdos of the city, a lot of our clients are either personal referrals or referrals from some of our venue partners, but a lot we get from some of the editorial shoots that we do and that are published and seen. We actually get a lot of business from those kind of boldly, and I'm so proud to say this. When I created this brand, the first shoot that I did was a play on the whole Day of the Dead holiday.
Oh,
And
really?
no one wanted to participate with me because, of course, I sound like a witch or something morbid, and they really just didn't understand the concept. So I had to pull in a couple out of town hitters that really just bought into the concept. And the shoot is beautiful. And literally that shoot still brings me business to this day. Even with all of the sugar skulls and the color and all of the things, I still get clients based off of that shoot. And that was in 2014.
She's so okay. So this is Juanita. Sharia Barksdale is so great. She is doing my wedding here in Memphis.
I
You're doing
am.
a wedding in Memphis?
Yep, it is next June, and we are so excited about it. So incredibly excited.
What is that like? Oh, I wish I could speak to that your client, because how did she choose to pick you to do a wedding in Memphis? You're not even there.
Yeah, no. So actually, I knew her from college, and we just kept in touch. And at the point where she moved, she just would not have anybody else plan it. So we really are honored that, you know, with all of the choices that she had, even in her new state, that she really just wanted us to do so. So, like I said, you know, I went to an all women's college that is now co-ed. So of course I have that connection to a lot, you know, quite a few brides from college. So, you know, it's been really, really awesome. I had the honor of planning a wedding for a college alum of mine at the beginning of October that Nicole and I collaborated on, and it was a really incredible experience.
So let's talk about the services that you offer.
Mm-hmm. Well, we pretty much offer 3 basic services. Of course, there's, you know, levels under those services, but we offer typical logistics coordination, which usually shows up as a month of or day of package in traditional terms.
Okay.
We also do decor design, which is my favorite piece. And we also do just general planning, which is, you know, helping match couples to their vendor team and, you know, navigating the contract negotiations and helping them source venues and those things of that nature.
Now, for your training for this, how long have you been in business?
Oh, that's a little loaded question. So by trade, originally I went to school for political science because I wanted to be a foreign service officer and an ambassador.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
we got an engineer here. Look, Candace, that's my favorite part. Okay. Okay, wow. Okay, so I'm listening.
Yeah, so the closer I got to my undergrad graduation, the more, like, I always heard, because again, born and raised in DC, that politics were corrupt and all the things, but I just couldn't take it because I am way too passionate and vocal to, you know, kind of stand by and let certain things ride. So it's like, okay, this is not me. So I did a gap year between undergrad and grad school to just really do some soul searching. And I realized the only thing that I loved about college was participating in some of my extracurricular activities, which is so counterproductive to the loan that I have to pay. But what I found was that those were the things that were fulfilling. You know, on those times where I hated this class or I just really wanted to do something else, you know, I always made it a point to do these activities because I was planning something. So at the point where I made that realization, I literally took every odd job and random internship that I could find for that year. And I really fell in love with the hospitality industry. So then I ended up going to GW and got my master's in hospitality with a concentration in event and meeting management.
Let me tell you, being a wedding planner, you really do have to have a love for it, because it is unlike some of the other professionals that you hire for that special day. The wedding planner could be with you up to a year and a half before. That's a long time to be with one customer, and you know the emotions that goes into it. I saw Nicole shaking her head when she talked about stepping out, kind of connecting and just saying, this is what I want to do. Nicole, was there something inside of you as well, that joy that you felt doing something that was just, this is really me? This is me.
It was. I get to meet people during the happiest times of their lives, whether it's a baby, whether it's, adoption. I mean, it's just all the things. How could you not fall in love with that?
Now, Sharia, you're actually you're a member of the Association of Wedding Professionals of Washington, D.C. And so how long have you been a member?
I've been a member since 2018, and that organization is so near and dear to my heart. Like, I feel like sometimes people know me more for AWP than my own brand, because I'm always shouting it from the rooftops, because most people wouldn't know it, but I'm an introvert. And
Wow.
it's just because of the, like I said, because of the influence of my AWP family, I feel like I've been able to overcome some shyness and some other things to really step out of my shell and really, hone in on who I am as an entrepreneur and as a wedding designer, and really just step out and own who I am. And just stepping into my own power has given me the power to help my clients to do the same. So once I kind of tapped into that, like I said, the level of my weddings has increased in terms of the design and the concepts and the budgets and some of the really cool things we get to do. And I just thank AWP for that, because honey, 2018 Sharia could never. Okay.
Wow. So tell me, so being a member, give me 2 or 3 things that really help you as a professional in this industry.
The network,
Okay.
because this industry is a lot of solopreneurs. Weddings are a lot of solopreneurs. So just knowing that I have a team of people that I can pull on if I need extra help at a wedding, or someone that I could call to discuss something that's happening in the industry, just to make sure that it's not just happening to me, or is this an overall thing, just having access to those different perspectives. And the education. I have learned an immense amount of being, a better wedding planner and a better entrepreneur, because like I said, there's no textbook to being a wedding planner. You just wake up one day and you have a passion for it and you decide to just go in and do it. But being a business owner is a lot harder than planning a wedding. So,
Oh my goodness.
just
Yes.
being able to tap into those resources. And there's a lot of other things that AWP does exclusively for their members that helps you be a better collaborator. And like I said, it just helps to stretch and pull you. Like, we do not allow one another to stay in our comfort zones. And I'm just really grateful for that.
Now, Sharia, you said something just a few minutes ago. I think so many people say, I want to be a wedding planner, and I don't know if they understand the full scope of what being a wedding planner is. I mean, I really think, and I'm saying this because I've heard people say, I think I want to do that when I retire, or I think I want to get a step away. And I'm like, do you understand? It's almost like being on the clock 24 hours. It
Correct.
really is, right?
And again, it's a lot of almost like psychology, because you have to understand the dynamics of working with people, you between your client, how your clients work with their parents, because all of those relationships aren't always positive, let alone the relationship you have with your vendor team. Because if you can't get along with them before the wedding, you're not going to get along with them on the day of the wedding. And like, if you didn't like group projects in school, wedding planning is not for you.
Not for
I'm
you,
just throwing
right?
that out there. Like, you have to
You
be
got
an
to deal with
expert.
personality.
Correct. You have to be an expert group project organizer, or this is just not going to work.
Oh my goodness. So what are some of the common things that people ask you when they call you? I mean, now because we're dealing with the pandemic, they're not necessarily walking into an office, but when they come to you, what do you find that they ask you? And I also want to, well, we'll go to that question first.
Okay. Honestly, I'm like Nicole. Everybody wants to come in and get straight to it. They have their date in mind, their colors in mind, all of these vanity metrics. So I kind of throw a lot of my clients off initially, because it's like, okay, we're going to wipe all of that clear. And the questions that I tend to ask about, what do you do on your typical date night? Do you travel? What are the designers that you wear? Like, where do you source your clothing? Because for us, we're more so of a lifestyle brand, and we do our best work when we know more about you as a person. So I don't get caught up in colors and dates, because I tell people all the time, until you actually pay money, your colors are going to change multiple times. Like, I don't know any client that
Say that
kept the
again.
original colors. Like,
Say
until
that
you put money down, your colors will change. And again, depending on the availability of your venue, if you don't have a venue at the point where you hire a planner, you may not have your original date. So, outside of really knowing how many people that you want to invite, and I typically also ask, how large is your wedding party? Because those two items kind of give me an idea of, what venues are available to you and how many people on my staff I'm going to have to bring in to manage you all on the day of. Everything else is almost optional until, like I said, you pay. because those are the things that can fluctuate.
You know, another thing is, since you're here in the Washington D.C. area, and I'm familiar with the North Carolina market, what are you saying? It's such a tough question I'm asking you because the pandemic isn't here. So how far ahead are people needing to book? That's a big thing.
Be-
People think it's some people are doing it too soon, or some are doing it way too late.
And again, I believe it depends on the scale of your wedding. Like
Okay.
elopements and micro weddings kind of took over for the 99 and the 2000 during the pandemic. So they were everywhere. So again, if you're doing something on a small scale, 20 to 30 people or less, you can turn those over in about 3 to 6 months, depending on how large of a production that you desire. But if we're talking, standard 150 person weddings, more traditional size pre-COVID, you're going to need about a year and a half lead time at this point because we're still in that hump of weddings that had to be rescheduled because of COVID. So, now we're competing with the 2022 brides and even some of the 2023. And there still may be some 2021 brides that still have yet to be married because their date had to get pushed back when a new variant was introduced or things of that nature. So I would definitely say taking your standard 12-month time frame and adding about 6 to 8 months in addition to that, just to ensure that you get everything you want. Because even this season, we had a shortage of flowers. And a lot of florists didn't anticipate that. So, there's a lot of things that are still happening that are affecting weddings. And again, if you're one of those clients that can't get this distinct vision out of your head, then you need to give yourself more lead time to prepare for it.
So, and this is for Nicole as well. So, what are you hearing that companies are doing, like yourself, service companies are doing in the wedding industry to really stay safe? Because you have some people who want to be vaccinated and some who don't want to be vaccinated.
That's a share question because I require masks because I am the owner of the stationery boutique. I require you to wear a mask. This is my space, my home. You have to wear a mask, my rules. So it's different when you have, and you're catering to 150 people, everybody might not have the buy-in for that. So that's a serious question for you. You just had an event that was, how did that go?
I heard last weekend.
Yeah, it was insane. It ended up being about 140 guests. We had a hotel space. And I would say it's three things. It's the comfort of the family,
Okay.
the venue regulations, and then your, local or your state mandates. I think those are the three things that are going to determine your level of protection right now during COVID. That particular wedding I just had, literally everybody was vaccinated except for the groom's dad, who again had a strained family dynamic. So they just literally pushed him to the side where he still felt welcome, but didn't breathe on anybody.
Oh my goodness, you're so funny.
But there were also, sanitization stations at the venue. Most of the vendors wore masks. Again, that was one of the things that, the family and their guests didn't wear masks. But honey, we were suited and booted with the double mask and the can of Lysol because I am not getting sick, so you can cha-cha slide.
Right. So you just had a wedding last weekend, and it's amazing to think that people are doing it. In fact, actually, my brother got married during the pandemic, and the numbers kept fluctuating, and it was an up and down. And I referred them to Nicole, and Nicole took great care of them. So let's talk numbers. What are things costing today to get married?
I want to say it depends on your where. And it depends on the scale. I would say the more inner city, downtown DC you are, the higher your price range is going to be. If you do something, and just because we're in such a tri-state area, if you do something more towards Northern Virginia or even in some of the counties of Maryland, you'll have a reduced price. But that also depends on your selections. This season alone, my weddings range from about 30K to about 85, 90K.
That's good.
And they had similar numbers of guests.
That's good.
And again,
that's good. I was definitely thinking more. So are we still at around $65 plus per person, or no?
And again, it depends on the caterer, but yes, I was about to say about 60 to 65 is about the lowest that most professional vendors go. The wedding this past weekend was $180 a person, which, $180 to $250 a person is standard for the DC area.
And see, now you see why people, if you're listening to the show, when you RSVP and say you're going to be there, that's why they want to make sure that you're there. They're spending that on the food alone. That's, that's a big deal.
Mhm.
So let's talk about some of the trends that you're seeing as a wedding planner here in the Washington, D.C. area.
One of the trends that I personally love are smaller guest counts, and that is a remnant of COVID. I feel like, for the moment, some of the 200, 250 plus weddings are just sunset for the moment. People are doing smaller, more intimate weddings, which I absolutely love for management purposes.
Yeah.
I feel like because of that lower guest count, more customization is trending. I feel like couples are actually taking the added time of all of the reschedules to really evoke more of their personalities into their actual day. So you're seeing more custom designs. I'm seeing more color, which I love. Just, a lot of personal details are being poured into more weddings lately, and I really just appreciate that. Again, I've seen more silk flowers or this push towards greenery in terms of florals, just because flowers are not available right now. So I've seen quite a few almost environmentally friendly-esque weddings, or, the use of non-traditional greenery elements in lieu of flowers that have really been trending a lot in these last couple of months that I absolutely love.
Sharia, you have some pictures that you sent us. Let me bring up a couple here, and I want you to tell us what we're looking at. It's kind of like what we did with Nicole as well. So we're going to bring that up, and I want you to tell us what we're looking at.
Okay, and I know I have quite a few, so we can kind of scroll through them quickly, but this first set of pictures is from, again, a transplant couple. Neither one of them are born and raised in DC, but they fell in love and now live in DC. And I want to say both of their families are from the southwest part.
Hold on. Oh, wait, this is gorgeous. I'm so sorry. This looks like royalty. I love this.
And that's what they were going for. They really wanted a stereotypical DC wedding. Both of them are Republicans. Like I said, both of their families are from the Southwest, had never been to DC. And I didn't say Republicans for any, real reason, but it just really resonates with them as families. So the chapel that we saw is actually a church that's on Capitol Hill. They took their, wedding party photos at the Capitol. And the reception was actually at the Daughters of American Revolution Hall. So it's a hall that's connected to Constitution Hall. So you get this very presidential.
Really, I like that.
So they had this extremely presidential, very regal DC wedding.
Wow. I mean, come on, you have to have these things. If you get married in DC, I would love that. Oh, now.
And again, the bride's aunt did all of the florals. But I was going to say the non-traditional part was, again, still stereotypical DC. Instead of traditional caterers, they use food trucks.
I love that. There are pictures of that too. I love that. How cool is that? Look at that.
And they did not want us to serve them. Like the venue coordinator was having a meltdown that they were actually standing at the food trucks. But they specifically said, we want to have that experience. So they had a Caribbean food truck and the lobster roll food truck, because their families had never had seafood because they just don't live in this part of the country.
I love this. I absolutely love what they did. That is really cool. Oh my goodness. And is this reception?
And again, this is at the same place where the tables were, but this is just their outdoor portico. And we just lit it up. Yep. So it's like, it's just beautiful. Like I said, they had a very stereotypical Washington, DC wedding, and we had a blast.
I love it.
Now, this couple, again, we were in Richmond, so little quick destination wedding. They were hilarious to work with. Again, kind of non-traditional. The groom is actually from Belize, and so it's his family. So because his family is so large and the majority of his immediate family are here, they didn't want to do destination because they didn't want to exclude anyone. So they did like a destination theme in Richmond where they lived at the time. So, I mean, huge, like I'd say all but one of the groomsmen are his brothers. One is his sister, and the other one that's not a brother is his cousin.
We can move through these, Norman, a little quicker. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, so
and
we're just
again,
saying
like I
that's
said, they
beautiful.
were just super,
Yeah.
super fun,
Oh, look at
non-traditional,
that.
everything, tropical elements of things. Like I
Safari
said, they were
chairs.
just a lot of fun. And again, family was big for them. So they had all of the kids, all of the nieces and nephews, and everybody. Like I said, another we shut down the party situation.
Do they have a
This is
traditional rum cake or a groom's cake? No.
No, he wanted carrot cake and she had some sort of strawberry. And this photo was of them catching the garter. And again, the kids were all on the dance floor as if they even knew what was happening. But
Right. Oh, they use the tent. Okay, I love that. Oh,
yep.
that's
And then they
gosh.
did a sparkler send off because their anniversary, they actually became a couple on 4th of July. And they actually got married like 3 days after 4th of July that year.
I love it. Oh, look at this. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
Yes, so this was one of my first cultural weddings that I was a part of, and they got married at a ballroom in Virginia. And again, that was another about 300-person wedding, all the things. They
Oh,
had 3 different outfit changes. Some performers came from Nigeria and Sierra Leone, and they did all of the traditional everything, and it was just a blast.
that looks oh, look at that cake. That looks about $10 a slice. That's beautiful. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. Oh wow.
Yeah, like I said, they changed 3 times that night during that
Beautiful.
reception. So it was definitely a spectacle.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful. Oh,
Mhm.
look at this.
Now, this was my first Indian wedding, and I'm super proud of it. Again, doing all of the traditional things.
Oh, they
This
did
is
the
actually in Crystal City. And I
okay.
laugh at these pictures and I included them because the cops actually shut this down. What we're seeing now is called a barat, which is basically the groom's entrance to the introduction of the bride's family. So it's almost like it was if you've seen the cartoon Aladdin when they were doing all the things. That's true for their culture. So he was literally had the horse, smoke bombs. There was actually a DJ in a car that's not captured in these photos. And we literally had a party around the hotel. But because they blew off so many smoke bombs, the cops shut us down.
Let me tell
And
you,
we ended
Indian
up
weddings are the best. They are so
oh
much fun,
gosh.
and it lasts for days. I absolutely love those.
Correct.
The
Correct.
best.
And this was just actually the actual day. Like you said, that might have been the third or fourth day
Right.
was the final
Yeah.
day of the actual ceremony. So like I said, this was the before the wedding party. And then we had the ceremony.
Look at
Again, this
this.
is part where they started to shut us down. And I didn't include the pictures. We just took over the hotel driveway and finished the party. So
Yeah,
this is the
Indians,
ceremony.
they know how to party. It's just it's such a celebration. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, like, and again, this was one of those moments where, my inner color wheel was just so elated because everything got to be colorful. There was no restrictions on color in their culture. And I just really, really loved learning so much and participating in this
Oh,
wedding.
yeah. Oh, these are just beautiful. What advice, and I know I want Norman to continue going through these. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness, look at that. That looks like
Yep.
a
And that was the
magazine cover.
reception stage because with Indian weddings, there's about a 4-hour time lapse between the ceremony and the reception just to be able to flip everything and transfer everything for the party.
Just beautiful.
Yep.
When
And they
people are
had,
looking the traditional, oh, they dance. Oh my goodness. You must have had fun. I'm like wishing I was there with you.
yeah, it was insane. They danced and look, they were still on the dance floor when we left. Like we were just like, okay, we're done. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. You guys have at it. So these are some of our styled shoots, also known as editorials in this industry that we spoke of. So this was at a hotel on Embassy Row. And then we just kind of went around the city to all of the celestial areas and just set up and took pictures. Now, this shoot was actually for a contest, but our original date was pushed back because of the first Women's March after 45 was elected. So that's why we went to, the Supreme Court and did all of these very political things since, our date got pushed back because of it. So we just really took the time to make a statement.
Wow, look at
And this
this.
was our most recent one, which is now featured in Iconic Bride magazine. Go buy your copy now at iconicbridemagazine.com. But we really wanted to do something very stereotypical Black Washingtonian.
Wow.
And this editorial has so many details packed into it. And we were able to get published about 3 times. And it was a huge vendor team. I want to say it was about 24 separate vendors involved in putting this together. And it was incredible.
This is, both of you, we say we're talking about all things wedding. It is really, really exciting. Nicole and Sharia, I know that there is with the Association of Wedding Professionals in Washington, D.C., there is currently a drive going on now. Yeah, Grace, it is
Yes.
amazing, right? And Megan, right? Absolutely beautiful. Hi, Ashley.
Thank you,
So there's a
everyone.
drive going on, right?
Correct. Right now, we officially launched our membership drive and renewal season on Monday. And pretty much, if there are any wedding vendors in the DC, Maryland, Virginia, even Delaware-ish area, if you like to drive, maybe even Baltimore area, we highly recommend joining AWP. We're an extremely inclusive, diverse band of wedding professionals. And if you really just want to grow your brand, grow your self-confidence as an entrepreneur, and just hang out with some really awesome people, AWP is definitely the place to be. Like, we have a lot of fun. We eat at every meeting. We drink at every meeting. And again, we take our education extremely seriously, and we take our relationships with one another extremely seriously. So, it's nice to know that I have about 70, 80 other people that have my back, and I just have to place a call or send an email and know that somebody's going to look out for me or somebody's going to give me the best advice. And just our network is just so much fun. And it's just nice having a place where you can be vulnerable, sometimes raggedy, and, just be able to be yourself. I think that's the best part about AWP. Like, I'm the resident weirdo, but I'm embraced. Nobody looks down at me for being these quirky, colorful weddings. And, I don't look down at anybody for doing the more traditional weddings or the wine country weddings. Like, we are all free to be
Oh
who
my
we
goodness.
are as we stand together. It's a really incredible space.
Nicole, as president, what do you hope people will get to know or hear about your organization? What do you want them to know?
Cher said a mouthful. She pretty much tightened up everything that I could possibly encompass in what I would want to say. And she is the vice president, so she can
Oh, okay.
speak to the growth. She can speak to the education. She can speak to the camaraderie that we all have, because it's all true. I mean, we have about 4 members that are watching us right now, shouting us out.
Oh, that's
Truly,
excellent.
it's just such a family affair. Really, it when we say we really take the camaraderie and the connection of being vendors very seriously. You could go to a wedding and see about 4 members actually, being a part of a wedding that is going on, and know that the couple is being very well taken care of, because they are truly professionals in this industry.
That's so important. Nicole, would you again quickly run through the categories as far as membership, like photographers, videographers? What are some of the categories?
Anything that encompasses a wedding, you are
Patricia?
welcome.
Patrice.
Patrice. Oh, hey,
Hi,
Patrice.
Patrice.
Oh, I love it.
Uh,
Hi, Ed.
from
Hi, Ed.
cake designers to boutiques, bridal boutiques, calligraphers, even the transportation,
Great.
officiants, everything, florists. It's just everyone. It's everything. Caterers, everything.
Yep.
So I didn't get a chance to ask you, Sharia, but what does it normally cost? Let's say they just want you for the day of, and I'm not putting you in a bucket because everybody has different requirements, right? So can you
Mhm.
give a range or what it starts at for day of and then full planning?
And again, for a professional planner, about day of should be between 1,800 and about 3,500 in the DC area market.
Mm-hmm.
Full planning, again, depending on your planner, ranges from about 3,500 and up. It could be anywhere between 10 to 15 or around 5 to 7. It literally depends on your caliber of planner.
Are there two types of companies out there when it comes to wedding planning, that one do a percentage and others do a flat fee? I just want people to know that there are variations on what people may charge as
Correct. And for
consultants.
the most part, what people typically do, you'll have a flat fee up to about $100,000 budget. And
Okay.
anything over $100,000 usually switch to a percentage, because that would
Good to
actually,
know.
yeah, reflect more of the workload that comes along with having such a large budget.
You know what? I tell you what, I love talking about weddings. I was telling you that before we actually went live. And I can't thank our viewers for participating and giving some insight and giving you guys some love. I'm going to give you a few minutes as we get ready to close out. First, Nicole, for people who want more information about Fingers and Ink, if you're just tuning in, Nicole Fingers is the owner and stationery stylist for Fingers and Ink. I want you to give your contact information. But in addition to that, she is also the president of the Association of Wedding Professionals in Washington, D.C.
Yes, Fingers and Ink on all platforms. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all social medias, and it's www.fingersandink.com.
And Sharia Barksdale, give us how we can
Yes.
reach out to you, wedding planner extraordinaire.
Yes, we are Eclectic Fete on all platforms, and you can find us at www.eclecticfete.com. I am working on the shenanigans of TikTok, so we're not there yet. But Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, you can definitely source us.
And I just got a question. So if you see me looking down sometimes, because people who follow me will ask me a question. So when's your next meeting?
Ooh, our next event is actually our closing award show, which is Tuesday, December 7th. And it's going to be
Okay.
our gala to celebrate all of the participants of our editorial competition and to give awards to our outstanding members of the year. So if you're interested in that, we're going to announce it shortly, but it's going to be on December 7th.
And again, for AWP, they go where?
www.awp-dc.com.
That's really simple. There, thank you. Look at that right there for you. Again, I have to thank our wonderful guests today. We have, of course, Nicole Fingers from Fingers and Ink and Sharia Barksdale from Eclectic.
Fete.
Fete. Okay, I want to make sure I see the accent there. Fete. Okay. You know what? I'm really liking you. I like your vibe. I love how you're able to be yourself. So whoever they are, they come to you and you help make it a reality. So I'm loving it. Eclectic Fete. I love that. You guys have been wonderful. And I know this will not be the last time we get a chance to talk, but I do have to thank you for joining us tonight. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we have Erica Campbell. No, not the singer. Erica Campbell is a phenomenal woman, and she's a stage 4 breast cancer survivor. She's an author and a model, and I want you to meet her next week. She has an incredible story to share with you. Again, thank you so very much for joining us. And if you have a special guest that you would like me to have on the show, simply email me at taylorthomasanchor@gmail. That's taylorthomasanchor@gmail. And you can always follow me at taylorthomas963. Until next week, everyone, God bless and goodbye.
Bye.